Hi everybody, so this is the hospital stint part 3 and last in this little section. I had a bit of a rough night last night because woke up about 3:30 absolutely starving. Tried to get back to sleep for an hour, couldn't, eventually had to get up and get some food in the middle of the night, and then I was back up an hour later because I had to change my bag or at least empty it. So yeah, feeling a bit tired today. But anyway, I wanted to share with you something specific that I did when I was in hospital. So I think the last time I left you, I just moved into the last ward before you're discharged, which I think was the waving like a nutter day was the Tuesday, and I had Wednesday and Thursday in the hospital, and I was discharged on Thursday afternoon. So there were a few things that I proactively did that I wanted to share with you, which was the most obvious sporting lesson that I think I've been able to pull out and share as a story. So the first thing was, I mentioned Anne, my surgical cycling pal, who happened to be in the same surgical team that I was being operated on. Anne didn't operate on me, but she's in the surgical team overall. Anyway, Anne told me the day after my operation that I would be out within a week, based on what she knew about me and how quickly people that are fit and healthy can recover from even serious trauma like that. So come, Tuesday I had a good day. Wednesday my potassium levels hit rock bottom and I basically never moved all day, and I absolutely felt dreadful. They got some blood results back, I think probably just before dinner time, which showed my potassium levels were low, which is probably why I was feeling so rough. And they gave me a potassium supplement, which again tasted like absolute crap. However, I was desperate to get out. And that night, being in a shared ward with people who snore like bears, talk in their sleep. One of the nights, one of the ladies was up wandering around crying because she was in so much pain with her back. Another one, their stoma bag kept leaking in the middle of the night and they were needing to change bed covers and stuff. So it's not a good place to try and get restful sleep. The beds are, generic for everybody, and the temperature needs to meet everybody's needs, and I prefer to be a little bit cooler, and if I'm too hot then I start feeling nauseous and might end up being sick. So it's not a good place for restful sleep. And Wednesday night I woke up maybe 4 o'clock in the morning and I felt like I have to get out of this place now. I have to get out. It's the first time I've ever had like claustrophobia. I just was like having all these random thoughts about how could I escape, and if I just like walked into the hospital, walked home and chapped on the door, what would Stacey say? Obviously I didn't escape that night, but I decided that night at 4 o'clock in the morning, which was my favourite time in the hospital, because 4 o'clock in the morning, most people who had been up in that night had given in and were conked, and it wasn't quite early enough for the nurses to start doing all their tests and things, kind of from about 5:45, 6 o'clock onwards, and all the emergencies had already happened. So 4 o'clock in the morning's like quiet time, and the lights tend to go out about 9, half 9. So you're trying to sleep on and off from 9, half 9 through 4 o'clock. I tended to wake up, and I decided in that moment, I have to leave this hospital today. So I decided that I needed to do everything I could to make it happen. And there were a number of things that the surgeon had told me that I needed to do. So one of them was I needed to get my stomach line removed. It had been delayed because of the bad pain reaction that I'd had, and they need to run it unattached for 24 hours and make sure I don't need anything pumped out my stomach. So A, I had to get that taken out. B, I had to get signed off by the stoma nurse that I could remove and change my stoma bag with confidence using the right process. And thirdly, all my blood results had to come back with the right biomarkers. So those were my 3 things that I needed to get ticked off. And I, at 4 o'clock in the morning, decided I am going to get out today. I had put some headphones in, and I was kind of like sitting up in my tilted bed, and I put on, I love movie soundtrack music. It's very emotive, especially if you can connect to particular movie scenes. And for about an hour and 15 minutes, I played all my favourite soundtracks, from everything from the opening scene in The Lion King to some Gladiator stuff, Rush, the movie about Formula One racers, to Gladiator and Transformers and all that kind of stuff. So I played all these things that made me feel almost indestructible and completely super strong, and I was supercharged emotionally, just felt so good, and it gave me such a surge, complete light. Like if you could see light coming out of me, you would have seen it. And you know, I'm lying there like this, just in my own little trance, listening to this music, having it fill me up and make me feel like it's given me the strength to get through today, so that I can convince the surgeon that that I'm ready to go. So later that morning, they're coming round to do the blood tests, the blood pressure, the heart rate. That's the first test of the day. And half an hour before, because you know roughly when they're going to be coming round, half an hour before, I am lying flat on my bed, like I'm sunbathing. I'm picturing this experience that Stacey and I had in Turkey on a private beach, when the sun was beating down, and you know, the waves on the beach were rolling in, and there was some nature sounds and some wildlife, and pure calm and serenity. And then they came and did their tests, and my heart rate and my blood pressure was really good. And then once they'd gone away, they came and did their bloods while I was still relaxed, still chilled. And then I think 9ish, the stoma nurse appeared as if by magic. I hadn't seen her for a couple of days. So I was like, oh my God, right, come into the cubicles. So she's pulling the curtain back to see me basically change the stoma bag and everything. She's happy, she's signing me off. And then the surgeon arrives, we have a chat, he has a look at the stoma because he came in while Louise was in, checked the incision, and he said, looked at my results and said, oh, things are looking really good. I think you'll probably be able to get away tomorrow. And I was like, no, today. And he was like, okay, if you get the sign off and the bloods, you can go home today. So Louise was like, I'm signing her off now. All I needed to do was wait for the blood results to come back. And lo and behold, later that morning, all was good. So I had a real squirrely running around in the last couple of hours while Stacey came and picked me up about 3ish. And that was my escape from the asylum. So it's a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to share with you. I left the hospital that day because I decided I was going to leave, and I had been building on all the progress that I'd made, and on top of what I'd done up until that point in the 5 or 6 days, I did everything else that I could to get out of there. I wanted to be home to recover properly in my own bed, where I could get a dark room with no beeps, no other people snoring or wandering around, healthy food, healthy environment with, you know, trees and nature outside, and just positivity and being able to do what I want without being prodded and poked all the time. So I was desperate to get home so that I could recover as quickly as I could. And I got home because I decided that day, based on everything that happened, that it was time for me to leave. So that's the end of my hospital series. I'm gonna add some pictures in at the end of this video, which is just a little bit of some of the pictures that I took when I was in hospital. Please note I look like absolute crap, but hey, I went through a bit of a trauma, and just some of the other little bits and pieces that happened, some of the meals that I was given when I had a stomach line and stuff. Some of you might not have spent much time in hospital, so I thought I might give you an insight. And I thought tomorrow I'd show you the Stoma kit stuff and start introducing you into what that's all about, and some of the stuff that I need to do every day to keep myself functioning as a stoma person. So I'll see you tomorrow.